Okay, what in the world is happening right now with Star Wars Battlefront 2? A game released over 8 years ago is suddenly exploding in popularity. They have hit an all-time peak of 18,000 concurrent players on Steam, literally 2 presidencies after its launch. Servers are packed, social media is on fire pretty much everywhere you look, and it feels like we just time traveled back to 2017, except this time without all the controversy. So, what caused this sudden resurgence? Why are people so hyped over a game that EA basically gave up on 5 years ago? Does this actually mean we might get a Battlefront 3? I don't know. Let's rewind a bit here. If you've loosely followed Battlefront 2 over these last couple of years, like myself, you already know it's had one of the most dramatic redemption arcs in gaming already. I mean, when it launched in 2017, it was a complete disaster. No matter who you asked, it was just awful. There was controversy over pay-to-win loot boxes, terrible progression systems, a general sense that it was just kind of a cash grab in classic EA fashion. Battlefront 2 became the poster child for what was wrong with AAA companies at the time, and still what we see today. But the developers, DICE, they actually listened to the community. They ripped out all of the monetization systems, they revamped the progression, they added new characters, maps, modes, and they turned it into a legitimately great Star Wars game. A legitimately great game overall. By 2020, players were already calling it one of the best multiplayer Star Wars games ever made, and granted, there's not a whole lot of competition, but I think it gets the point across still. And then all of a sudden, EA just stopped. Pretty much right around when COVID first started, like April of 2020, EA completely pulled the plug on Battlefront 2. But the community never let it die, which brings us to now, the summer of 2025. Suddenly, Battlefront 2 is seeing all-time record numbers. I mean, 18,000 concurrent players on Steam alone? That's more than some brand new AAA titles, which is just ridiculous. You don't get to that point for no reason. So what is the reason? How did we get here? Basically, we are in kind of a good era of Star Wars content. Like right now, we had Andor Season 2 that just dropped, and then you had the whole, Fortnite Star Wars event going on, which I didn't play, but it was all over TikTok. There was the Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary, the recent May the 4th annual reignition of Battlefront that happens every year anyway. So there's just a lot going on right now, and whenever Star Wars is in the spotlight, if you will, games like Battlefront just benefit. So basically, if you're not up to date on the current state of Star Wars, basically just know that it's in a good spot, and that has majorly contributed to the game getting so much spotlight. There's also just nothing else out there quite like Battlefront. Jedi Survivor is awesome, but it's single player. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is one of my favorite, games of all time overall, but it's just a completely different vibe. And then Star Wars Outlaws is Star Wars Outlaws. But Battlefront 2 is just like a objectively fun combat game. You don't even have to be fully up to date on all the lore and fantasy and background that's going on behind everything, which is great if you're into that. But even if you're just like a very general FPS or even hero shooter fan, this game is just fun. You can go boots on the ground as a clone trooper, there's flying through space in an X-Wing, or cutting through enemies as a, Jedi, or whatever it may be. No other game really nails that same scale, variety, and fantasy, I guess. And then you have PC players that are bringing in new characters. You have Mandalorian and Ahsoka, there's custom skins, even entire reworks of maps and game modes, and that's all with the help of mods. So the modding scene is keeping the game fresh, considering nothing has been updated in 5 years because EA just completely pulled the plug. So I think the biggest reason why the game is not only alive but thriving is the aforementioned community. I mean, Battlefront 2 and Star Wars just in general has one of the most passionate fan bases in entertainment and gaming. So they've been doing all of this heavy lifting ever since EA just left the game. From what I've seen online, there's fan-run servers with custom game nights, tournaments, role-playing events. People are building their own experience on top of the already existing game. And I mean, the vibe is great, it's just kind of people chilling, and that sense of community in a game is kind of rare these days. So people are drawn to it, and with all of this attention, people have been naturally asking, mostly just the loyal fan base of Battlefront 2, is this finally the push that EA needs to greenlight Battlefront 3? Interestingly enough, some ex-DICE developers have gone on record saying they'd love to reunite to make it happen. Obviously, that's not contractual or anything, but there's clearly demand, there's clearly talent, and obviously from what we're seeing right now, there is a market. But the catch is that EA is no longer exclusively licensed for Star Wars. Other studios like Ubisoft are taking their own Star Wars endeavors for better or for worse. So EA may not be in a rush to revisit Battlefront, but either way, if this kind of momentum, if this kind of hype sustains itself, I mean, you can never say never. Nostalgia is a powerful drug, and it seems that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is no exception to that in 2025. Let me know if you guys have reinstalled the game or just what your thoughts are on this video. Besides for that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.